I'm a teacher, and my students ask me all the time, why should I read? I already go to class, watch movies in English, and listen to you talk. Isn't that enough? I totally get it. Reading can feel hard. It's not as quick as watching a video or as easy as hearing a story from me. But today, I want to tell you why reading is so awesome and how it can help you in ways you might not expect. When I was a kid, I didn't like reading either. I'd rather watch cartoons or play video games. Books? No way, they looked boring. Then one day, my teacher said something that stuck with me. She said, "Reading helps you understand the world better. It opens your mind to new ideas and makes you smarter." I thought, yeah, right. How can a bunch of words do that? But I was curious, so I gave it a try. I picked up a book about pirates, because who doesn't love pirates, and started reading. Guess what? She was right. The more I read, the more I learned. School got easier, and I started figuring things out in life too. Reading isn't just staring at words. It's like a secret weapon for your brain. It teaches you how to think, how to understand tough stuff, and how to solve problems. That's why it's so cool. It sneaks up on you. At first, you don't even notice how much you're learning. Then one day you realize, hey, I'm pretty smart now. One of my favorite quotes about reading comes from George R.R. Martin, the guy who wrote Game of Thrones. He said, "A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only one." Isn't that amazing? When you read, you get to be a hero, a detective, or even a wizard. You live all these wild adventures without leaving your room, all through books. Now I know what you're thinking. Reading sounds great, but it takes so long. Don't worry, I've got tricks to make it easier. Let's talk about skimming and scanning. Skimming is when you read fast to get the big idea. Imagine you've got a huge chapter to read, but you're short on time. What do? Just read the first and last sentence of each paragraph. Boom! You've got the main point. It's like getting the movie trailer instead of watching the whole thing. Scanning is different. It's like being a treasure hunter. You're looking for something specific, like a name, a date, or a number. Don't read every word. Just zoom through the page until you spot what you need. These tricks save you time and make reading less scary. Let me tell you about my student, Sam. Sam hated reading. He'd say, "I don't have time for long books. I've got soccer practice and video games." I told him, "You don't need to read every single word to learn something. Try skimming and scanning." He looked at me like I was crazy, but he gave it a shot. He picked a short article about his favorite soccer player and skimmed it for the big ideas. Then he scanned it to find out how many goals the player scored. A week later, he came back and said, "That was actually kind of fun. I learned stuff without even trying." Soon, Sam was reading more than ever before. Reading isn't just about school or passing tests. It's about growing your brain and understanding the world. When you read, you're training yourself to be a thinker. You start seeing things differently, like how a story connects to your life, or how a problem in a book is like a problem you've got. It's powerful stuff. I remember another student, Lily. She didn't like reading because it felt slow, but I told her, start small. Pick something you like. She loved animals, so I gave her a book about baby pandas. She tried skimming it, and soon she was telling me all about pandas, how they eat bamboo and roll down hills. She didn't even realize she was learning English while she read. So why should you read? Because it's not just about words, it's about becoming a better you. It's about living 1,000 lives, like George R. Martin said. It's about figuring out life one page at a time. Give it a chance, even if you think it's not your thing. Start with something short. Use skimming and scanning and see where it takes you. You might surprise yourself and find out reading is way cooler than you thought. My students always tell me, "Teacher, I don't understand English words. There are too many." Don't worry, that's normal. Want to know the easiest way to learn new words? You guessed it, reading. When you read, you bump into new words all the time. The best part? They're in sentences, so you can guess what they mean without running for a dictionary. For example, if you read, "The dog barked loudly at the stranger," you might not know barked, but you can figure it's something dogs do, probably making noise. Over time, you pick up more and more words, and English starts feeling like a friend instead of a puzzle. Let me tell you about my student, Mark. Mark was super quiet in class. He struggled with speaking English. He'd say, "I can't find the right words. I know what I want to say, but it won't come out." I told him, "Mark, you need to read more." He frowned and said, "Reading?" I thought talking was the way to get better. I explained, "Reading fills your brain with words you can use when you talk. It's like collecting tools for a toolbox." He wasn't sure, but he trusted me. Mark started small. He didn't grab a giant book. He picked short stories and articles. Every day, he read for 20 minutes. At first, he'd stop a lot, confused by new words. I told him, "Be patient. Keep going. Guess the meanings if you can." After a few weeks, he ran up to me and said, "Teacher, I get it now. I understand more words." Soon he was chatting in class, using words he'd found in his stories. One day, he even said, "I feel confident now." Reading gave him the words he needed, and it didn't even feel like work. Here's a fun quote from Dr. Seuss, the guy who wrote those Wild Kids books. "The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go." Isn't that cool? Reading doesn't just give you words. It takes you on adventures. Every new word is like a key that unlocks a door to somewhere new. Want to make it even better? Try reading aloud. Grab a short story or an article and read it out loud. Focus on saying the words clearly. Don't stress if you mess up. Just keep going. It's like practice for your mouth and your brain. My student Anna tried this. She'd read quietly before, but her pronunciation was shaky. I said, "Read aloud at home. Hear yourself speak." She started with a page a day. A month later, she said, "I sound better now. I'm not scared to talk." Another trick is shadowing. This one's like a game. Find an English podcast, audiobook, or even a YouTube video with subtitles. Listen to a sentence, pause it, and repeat what they said. Try to match their speed and sound. It's like copying a pro. My student Carlos loved music, so I told him to shadow English rap songs. He laughed and said, "That's not reading." But he tried it with lyrics, repeating after the rapper. Soon he was speaking faster and clearer. He told me, "It's fun, and I sound cool now." Then there's Maria. She was super shy. She'd whisper, "I'm afraid of mistakes." I told her, "Read aloud at home and shadow some podcasts. No one's watching." She started with a kid's story audiobook. At first, she stumbled, but she kept at it. Weeks later, she joined a class chat and said, "I'm not scared anymore." Reading and these tricks gave her words and courage. So if you feel stuck with English, grab a book. Start small, guess the words, and try reading aloud or shadowing. Your vocabulary will grow, and soon you'll be talking, writing, and listening like a champ. Reading's the secret sauce. Give it a taste. Lots of students think reading is only for school or exams. Nope, it can be a blast, and when you enjoy it, you learn way faster. I had a student named Lisa who hated reading. She'd say, "It's boring. Why read when I can watch movies or listen to songs?" I understood school books can be a snooze, but I told her, "You don't have to read dull stuff. Pick something fun." She loved adventure, so I handed her a short book about a kid lost in a jungle. After a few pages, she ran to me, grinning, "This is awesome. I feel like I'm climbing trees with the hero." From then on, Lisa read every day, not because I made her, but because she wanted to. That's the magic of fun reading. It doesn't feel like work, it feels like play. You can read comics, mysteries, fairy tales, or sci-fi, whatever gets you excited. And here's the sneaky part. You're learning the whole time. Your English gets better, your brain grows, and you don't even notice. Joseph Addison said, "Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body." Just like jumping rope makes your legs strong, reading makes your mind tough. Here's a trick for fun reading. Intensive reading. Pick a story you love and read it slowly. Enjoy every word. Imagine the characters, the places, the action. If you hit a word you don't know, guess it from the sentence. Still stuck? Check a dictionary. Think about how the story makes you feel. It's like diving deep into an adventure. My student Jake tried this with a pirate book. He'd tell me, "I can hear the cannons in my head." He loved it so much he finished the book in a week. Another trick is reading in chunks. Don't try to finish a whole book in one day. Break it into small pieces. Read a chapter, then stop and think about it. It's less overwhelming and more fun. My student Priya loved fairy tales but thought books were too long. I said, "Read one story at a time." She started with Cinderella, reading a few pages a day. Soon she was hooked, saying, "I can't wait to see what happens next." Then there's Max. Max didn't like reading. He loved superheroes. I told him, "Try comics." He said, "Comics aren't real reading." But I gave him a Spider-Man book. He couldn't stop. The pictures and action pulled him in. Weeks later, he said, "My English is better, and I'm having fun." He learned new words like web and villain without even trying. Dr. Seuss said, "You can find magic wherever you look. Sit back and relax. All you need is a book." He's right. Books are full of magic. Funny moments, wild journeys, happy endings. If you're not sure where to start, think about what you love. Adventure? Try a treasure hunt story. Fantasy? Grab a book with dragons. Romance? Find a sweet love tale. It doesn't matter what. Just pick something that makes you smile. Reading for fun isn't about studying. It's about enjoying the ride. My student Omar loved soccer, so I gave him a book about a kid who becomes a soccer star. He'd tell me, "I feel like I'm on the field." He didn't care about homework. He just wanted to read more. That's the goal. Find a book that feels like a friend. Try it, and you'll see. Reading can be your favorite game. Part 4. Reading makes you super smart. Last time we talked about fun reading. Now let's see how reading makes you act smarter. It's not just about words. It boosts your focus, memory, and imagination. How? Let's dig in. When you read, your brain gets a workout. You have to pay attention to the words, understand the story, and remember what's happening. It's like lifting weights for your mind. The more you read, the better you get at focusing and remembering stuff. My student David couldn't concentrate. He'd say, I forget everything. My brain's a mess. I told him, read a little every day. It'll help. He started with 10 minutes, reading a mystery story. Weeks later, he said, I can focus now. I even remember my homework. Reading sharpened his brain like a pencil. Stephen King, the famous writer, said, books are a uniquely portable magic. They take you places and make you smarter while you're at it. Reading also fires up your imagination. When you read, you picture everything, the characters, the scenes, the action. It's like making a movie in your head. That's creativity, and it's super useful, not just for artists, but for solving problems or dreaming up ideas. Try this trick. Grab a pencil and make notes while you read. Underline cool lines, write questions, or jot down new words. It helps you think harder and remember more. My student Sarah didn't get it at first. She'd say, why mark up my book? I told her, it's like talking to the story. She tried it with a detective tale, underlining clues. A week later, she said, I remember the killer's name now. This works. Another trick is summarizing. After a page or chapter, stop and say the main points in your own words. It's like telling a friend what happened. My student Leo loved space stories. I told him, summarize each chapter. He'd say, the astronaut landed on Mars and found water. It helped him lock the big ideas in his head. If he forgot something, he'd peek back and try again. Reading also makes you creative. Think about it. Inventors, artists, and scientists read a lot. It helps them dream big. Albert Einstein, the genius scientist, said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Reading grows both. When you read, you visit new worlds and meet new people. My student Aisha loved fantasy. She read about elves and magic, then started writing her own stories. She told me, reading gave me ideas I never had before. Let's try one more example. My student Tom couldn't focus in class. He'd doodle instead of listen. I gave him a short book about race cars and said, annotate it, summarize it. He underlined car names and summarized races. Soon he said, I'm better at paying attention now. Reading trained his brain to stay on track. So next time you pick up a book, know it's doing more than entertaining you. It's making you sharper, more creative, and ready for anything. Your brain's getting stronger with every page. How awesome is that? Part 5. Reading, your ticket to success. Last time we saw how reading makes you smart. Now let's talk about the biggest win. Reading is your key to success. Want to be a doctor, a teacher, a business owner? Reading gets you there. Tons of successful people, leaders, inventors, even presidents, love books. Why? Because reading gives you knowledge and power. When you read, you learn stuff, facts, ideas, ways to think. That helps you make smart choices no matter your dream. My student Jack hated school. He'd say, I don't need books, I just want money. One day, he told me he wanted to start a business. I said, great, start reading about it. He asked, why? I'll just figure it out. I told him, books teach you how businesses work, money, plans, all of it. He grabbed a simple book about young entrepreneurs. Months later, he started a small online shop selling stickers. It grew because he learned tricks from reading, like how to advertise. He said, I wouldn't have done it without books. Margaret Fuller said, today a reader, tomorrow a leader. Reading today sets you up to lead tomorrow. Here's a trick. Set reading goals. Pick a book, aim for 10 pages a day, and track it. Use a notebook or a calendar to mark your progress. Reward yourself when you hit your goal, like a candy bar or a game break. My student Kim tried this. She loved cooking, so she read a recipe book 10 pages a day. She'd say, "I made cookies from page 5." It kept her excited to read more, read inspiring stuff too, like stories of people who made it big. My student Emily wanted to be a scientist. She loved animals, so I gave her a book about Jane Goodall, who studied chimps. Emily read it and said, "She's so cool. I want to be like her." It pushed her to study harder. Now she's in college, chasing her science dream. Books showed her the path. Another trick is critical thinking. Don't just read, ask questions. Is this true? How does it fit with what I know? It makes you sharper. My student Raj read a book about space travel. He'd ask, "Could I live on Mars?" He'd look up answers and tell me, "I learned more than the book said." Thinking hard while reading preps you for real-life decisions. Barack Obama said, "Reading is the gateway skill that makes all other learning possible." If you can read, you can learn anything. Math, science, business, art. Every book is a step to your future. My student Sophia wanted to be a doctor. She read about famous surgeons and set goals to finish one book a month. She'd summarize what she learned like, "This guy saved lives with a new tool." Now she's studying medicine, all because reading gave her a head start. Success isn't luck, it's work, knowledge, and grit. Reading hands you those tools, so grab a book today. Start small, set goals, think hard, and let it inspire you. Every page is a brick in your dream. Read today, lead tomorrow, the world's waiting for you.